On Friday, January 30th, 1905, Floyd Collins felt electric. After weeks laboring in Sand Cave, Kentucky, he finally broke through a stubborn, corkscrewed tunnel into a long, trapped passage. Floyd, a rugged explorer with a knack for narrow, twisting caves, had worked tirelessly, pulling rocks, sand, and gravel, to widen a tiny fissure beneath the main passage. Now, with his gas lamp flickering, he squeezed through and slid down an 8-foot drop into a large cavern. Ahead lay roughly 140 feet of low, rough crawling. His dream of transforming Sand Cave into a tourist destination was coming to life. Realizing his lamp was nearly out of fuel, Floyd scrambled back up, clambered through the narrow crack, and lay on his back in the dimly lit, angled passage. He inches forward, sliding carefully on his legs across jagged rock, keenly aware that the tunnel was unsteady and man-made. Then, in darkness, disaster struck. As he pushed forward, a slide of rocks and dust thundered down the tunnel. Floyd screamed, choking on dust, as his left leg snapped under a vice-like pressure. Both arms broke free to brace against the walls, but now his left ankle was clamped beneath a massive stone. His arms crushed into the tunnel's sides. He was buried. The passage was barely 16 inches high, with Floyd lying curled in a wormhole over 140 feet beneath the earth. Pain blew through him in waves, sharp, biting, inescapable. He clenched his teeth and fought not to cry out again. Once, trapped in Crystal Cave the year before, rescue had taken 2 days. This time, Floyd was alone, far deeper underground, and unlikely to be found soon. He strained and twisted, every fiber of his being pushing against stone that refused to yield. His left foot remained immobile, pinned beneath a heavy slab. His arms trapped awkwardly, scraped with every futile effort to free them. Darkness pressed so hard against his eyes he could not even blink. Only the steady drip of water from the tunnel ceiling offered some constant stimulus, the drops a soft but maddening rhythm in the oppressive silence. Floyd tried to relax his shoulders, slow his breaths, preserve his dwindling strength. He knew someone would come looking. His coat and hat were visible from outside. But hope blurred over time with pain and isolation. Exhaustion overcame fear, and he dozed in tortured sleep, waking hours later disoriented and drenched in sweat. He screamed repeatedly, testing the limits of his voice, and even when he fell silent, the cave swallowed him in oppressive darkness. Sweat and tears merged on his face, his muscles ached. Blood trickled down his ankle and arms, staining the dirt. Late Saturday morning, nearly 36 hours into his ordeal, the landowner's teenage son, Jewel Estes, wandered in to check on Floyd. 50 years old, frail, inexperienced with caving. Jewel called softly. Deep inside the tunnel, Floyd answered with relief. "Help!" But Jewel froze at the tight breakdown area known as the turnaround room. He knew Floyd was deeper in, but the final opening was less than 9 inches high, too small for him to reach in, so he ran to fetch help. Floyd lay back in blackness and waited. The dripping water never stopped. Hours crawled by. Finally, at 4 p.m. Saturday, his younger brother Homer arrived. Smaller, accustomed to the cave's depths, he crawled 100 feet through claustrophobic passages to the turnaround room. Pivoting through the almost paper-thin gap, he entered the slide tunnel and dropped 10 feet down to Floyd's position. Floyd's face emerged from the gloom. Homer brought coffee and sausage and set to work tearing at rock and gravel with bare hands, frustrated by the immobility of dirt deeper down. His limbs braced in a painful squat, he scooped debris until crawling cramps forced him back. For 16 hours, through the night, he fought to clear space, shoveling, sliding, digging. By 8 a.m. Sunday, Homer emerged, weak and mud-covered, pleading for help. A crowd had gathered, rescue-minded locals and gawkers, journalists and curiosity seekers. Many tried to reach Floyd but were blocked at the turnaround room, so narrow that nearly everyone turned back. Sunday passed without progress. Only Floyd and Homer had made contact. Others lingered, discussing strategy without entering. Floyd was now 4 days in. He lay in cold, muddy water, body growing weaker, temperature dropping, thirst and hunger ravaging him. He clung to consciousness, whispering for his brother, feeling delirium creep in. Then reporter William S.K.S. Miller, himself slim and determined, crawled in Sunday afternoon. He squeezed through the turnaround room and descended to Floyd's level. He offered coffee, sparked Floyd's spirit, and retreated. his brief presence the first human contact in over 72 hours. He vowed internal assistance, but left to report. His support symbolic but no rescue. Experts and professionals met at the surface. Landowner, firefighters, geological consultants, yet none dared enter the tight passage. A plan was proposed Sunday evening. Use product like crowbars and jacks to shift debris from above Floyd's trapped foot. SKS Miller himself attempted to clear gravel, but chipping rock in darkness inside the shaft proved exhausting and unrewarding. He spent hours maneuvering awkwardly before collapsing from exhaustion at 1 a.m. Monday morning. Rock and Asphalt Company crews lined up at the entrance and began shoring up the cave's entrance passages. But deep inside, the slide tunnel and turnaround room were unstable. Another collapse echoed, yet no one dared advance further. Again, only Johnny Gerald, the childhood friend who had rescued Floyd in Crystal Cave, stepped in. He squeezed through in darkness, listened for collapse, and began removing large stones for 8 hours. Each rock removed brought renewed hope. By 10:30 p.m. Monday, he'd opened a path to daylight points of contact and returned to the surface for more tools. Just before midnight, he returned with reinforcements, a new bucket brigade and lights. They descended. What they found was worse. Another collapse had dumped tons of rock and mud into the tunnel. The cave floor, soporific and unsteady, threatened further collapse at any moment. Johnny pressed on alone, desperate. Mud streamed down, water splashed over him, and his hands bled. Yet he refused to leave. Hours later, a rumble came. He ran for escape through the unstable tunnel, collapsed outside, broken and defeated. By Tuesday, rescue crews admitted the cave was untenable. It was physically impossible to reach Floyd through the tight slide. The governor's office mobilized the National Guard. Officials endorsed drilling a rescue shaft straight down from above Floyd's location. After surveying, they began sinking a 55-foot shaft and then would tunnel laterally to the trapped passage. On Thursday, February 5th, day 7 of the entrapment, digging began with optimism. Engineers estimated a 30-hour job, but saturated soil, hidden boulders, bad weather, and shifting rock made progress slow and dangerous. Progress crawled along for nearly 12 grueling days. Support crews arrived, experts consulted, tension rose. All the while, they listened for Floyd. Every cough or drip amplified hope. They strung a light bulb through wires to warm Floyd's surroundings. As the bulb blinked with slight flickers, presumed to be Floyd's breaths, everyone's urgency coalesced. By Friday, February 13th, day 14, the light bulb went dark. No more flicker, no more sigh through wire. The shaft still hadn't reached Floyd, but the light's failure was chilling. Still, digging continued. On Monday, February 16th, day 18, they broke through. A rescue worker squeezed through the lateral tunnel and found Floyd's body still lying where he had collapsed, twisted in the mud, his face frozen in pain and peace. The coroner reported that Floyd had survived approximately 14 days underground, finally perishing 3 days earlier. The news swept the nation. Sand Cave and Floyd Collins became tragedy. His dream, grandly commercializing a cave, went on. Sand Cave later became Collins Crystal Cave, part of a tourist system where visitors could meander through a path Floyd first carved. Floyd himself was buried near Mammoth Cave National Park in the Baptist Cemetery. On Friday, January 30th, 1925, Floyd Collins finally reached the cavern he had been digging toward for weeks. He'd clawed and crawled through nearly 140 feet of stone and clay inside Kentucky's Sand Cave, chasing a dream of discovery. But that dream would become a death sentence. As he tried to slide backward out of the narrow passage, a sudden collapse crushed his left leg beneath a massive rock. Pain screamed through his body. He couldn't move, couldn't sit up, couldn't twist free. The jagged tunnel was only 16 inches high, less than the width of a backpack. His foot was trapped. His body was pinned. He was sealed in alive. He screamed, choking on dust, but there was no one to hear him. The lamp had gone out. Darkness settled in absolute. He lay there, face up, water dripping on his skin, breathing stale air, limbs swelling from pressure and lack of blood. His muscles ached from contorting against immovable stone. Time dragged. Hours passed. Then, a full day, and another. The pain didn't lessen, it deepened. His crushed foot throbbed, then went numb. His chest was soaked in icy mud. The cold crawled into his bones. By Sunday, others found him. His brother Homer reached him first, crawling through the impossible tunnel. Floyd cried with relief, but hope turned cruel. No one could free him. Every effort to dig triggered more rock slides. Every rescue plan failed. Days passed. Food reached him sparingly. Water trickled in. But nothing moved the stone, crushing his leg. His arms swelled and bruised. His skin blistered from constant pressure. The temperature dropped. The tunnel filled with freezing water. He hallucinated. He spoke of angels, of warm beds, of light. All the while he lay still, eyes open in the dark, body twisted, slowly dying. By the time rescue crews reached him 18 days later, Floyd was dead. He had lasted 14. 14 days buried alive, crushed under rock, soaked in freezing water, and abandoned by a passage too small to save him. His pain was silent, but it echoed across the nation.